Our front row can fire anywhere between the two cones in turn number 4. If Toddy and Evers, nice tight square and even, we are ready to go to get underway here on Gaston's Auto Sales and Service Night. We are green. We are almost 3 wide down the front straightaways. Coos gets to the inside of Olivieri. Evers going to try the high side in that 265, but he is going to slip off the banking just a little bit, and he's going to fall to the tail as the 5 of Hare is in the lead right now with Olivieri pushing the high side in that nice looking number 16 around the outside of the Volkswagen Bug of Cuse. Here comes lead lap 1. That's going to be Hare over Olivieri, Cuse, 6X, and If Toddy. Cuse now to the inside of Olivieri, looking for that second spot as they both gain in on the 5 of Kenny Hare. All 3 of these cars been really fast in any show I've seen so far this year as they're putting on a good battle for the lead and second spot in our first heat race tonight as we click off the second lap here in this heat race. Olivieri now gets a little high off turn number 2. That's going to allow the 7 of Cuse to run away a bit, and he's going to look into closing on the Hare. And now Sarantakos in that 6X moving in on Olivieri. We're going to have a 4-car battle for the lead now as we're single file through the front 4, but they could break into battle at any moment as we're halfway down, 3 laps in, 3 to go in this 6-lap first heat for the Dow Auto Mini Stocks. Two to go this time for the 5K of Hare. Cuse has kind of stalled out his charge a little bit, just following around the bottom of that 5 of Hare. Now Sarantakos to the inside of Olivieri, who got super loose now in 3 and 4. Still super loose out of 2 is the 16 of Olivieri. He gathers it back in 4th spot. As here we go to the white flag now. It's going to be the 5 of Hare, who's been out front in this one for the whole way. Cuse doing a good job to move up from his back of the pack starting spot into that second spot. He's going to try to chase him down. His Hare gets a little loose out of turn number 2. They both roll the bottom of the back straightaway last time into turn number 3 and 4. Checker flag in the air. Who is it going to be? Pushes up a little bit out of 4, but he's going to get it. Kenny Hare over Cuse, Sarantakos, Olivieri, If Toddy, and Evers. From that heat, and we are going to roll heat 2 tonight in our Dow Auto Mini Stock. Steve's going to give you the lineup.
Thank you. Starting in the first position from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Danny Worcester in the 44. Starting in second from Smithville, Ontario in the 44B, Leroy Bushcombe. Starting in the inside in the second row from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 14L, John Lebec. Starting in 4th position in the 11E from Linden, Ontario, Jeff Elliziger. Starting in 5th inside the 3rd row from Harley, Ontario, number 37, Robert Hoskins. And rounding out the field from Port Colborne, Ontario, Ray Sorenzia in the 71C.
Thank you, Steve. Worcester and Buscombe, couple of 44s on the front row. We are going to be green out of 4 this time for our second and final heat for the Dow Auto Mini Stocks. Buscombe creeping a little up high into the good stuff. He wants to get a good run down the front straightaway. Green flag is out, and we are racing out of turn number 4 as Buscombe does get a good start in that 44B into turn number 1. He's going to lead him. Worcester does not get a good start in the other 44 as the 11 of Esslinger gets in, but Worcester powers down the back straightaway now as we've got a whole bunch of cars battling for that second spot. And we've got one around. It's the 14 of Lubeck around in 3 and turn number 3. Let's see if he can get her tossed around. He does. Race director Doug Leonard's going to love that. Definitely a little special star in the book for him as Buscombe is pulling away out of turn number 2 in this one in that 44B as Hoskins now looks to the inside of Kokrick in the 3K. Now we've got cars together on the front straightaway. It's Kokrick and Hoskins in the 3K and 37. They gather back in and keep going. Buscombe all alone out in front over the 11 of Esslinger in this one. Worcester doing a good job to hold on to the 3rd spot. Kokrick had a few problems this heat so far, but still doing a good job to hold on to 4th and keep rebounding in that 3K as there's halfway down 3 to go in this 6-lap heat for the Dow Auto Mini Stocks. 71 truck off the back straightaway off turn number 2. Real slow gather in there, but he does manage to keep her going as he's creeping into turn number 3, hoping to stay green here. 71 of Cerenzia gathering it in, is going to feel the heat from race leader now out of turn number 4 as they come to the white flag. Buscombe might have to deal with lap traffic on the last lap, but he does have almost a straightaway lead over the 11 of Esslinger. Hoskins now looking for a run on the 44 Worcester for that third spot. Buscombe gets under the lap car out of turn number 4. Checker flag in the air. It's going to be 44B. Leroy Buscombe picking up the heat win, followed by 11 Esslinger. Battle for third at the line. One last stab for the 44 of Worcester, but it's going to be Hoskins, Worcester, Kokerick, and Lubeck. Cerenzia rounds out the field.
Inside the front row from Dunnville, Ontario in the 37J will be Jeff Bean. Outside in the 79 from Guelph, Ontario, Christopher Hale. Inside the second row, Mike Thorne in the 55 from Caledonia, Ontario. And to his right, Rob Murray from St. Catharines, Ontario in the M1. Inside third row, Blake Bomberry Jr. in the 24 on the outside. From Hagersville, Ontario in the 3B, Devin Bacher. Inside, fourth row in the 28 from Caister Centre, Ontario, Jim Lapman. And rounding out the field, outside, fourth row, Donnie Lapman from Caister Centre, Ontario in the 28D.
Here we go out of 4. It's going to be Bean and Hale on the front row. Green flag in the air, and we're racing in our first heat race for the GNR Invento Street Stocks. It's going to be 8 laps the distance as we're side by side through turn number 1 and 2. Hale on the high side. He's getting a little tap from the rear and the M1 of Murray as they trying to race by the 37 of Bean. Murray drives her in on the high side, grabs the cushion a little bit. He's got Mike Thorne behind him in that 55 car as the leader of the first lap. Is going to be the 79 of Hale over Murray, and battle for the third spot between Bean and Thorne, with Bomberry rounding out the top 5 now as Lampman gets a run on him for that 5th spot down the back straightaway in that 28 Camaro. Single file through the front 4. We've got a battle for the 5th spot still between Bomberry and Lampman. That's the best battle on this track right now. As I say that, the 55 of Mikey Bobby. Mike Thorne goes to the inside of Jess Bean for that 3rd spot. So Thorne in that pesky Penguin Burger Barn number 55 into the 3rd spot. Now is Murray going to look to battle for the lead on the 79 of Hale. Into turn number 1 and 2. Hale gets a little bit loose, drifts up. That opens the door for Murray down the back straightaway, and he's going to nose out in front in that beautiful number M1 machine. And Mike Thorne looking to follow him through as well. And the 55 is now Thorne's to the inside of the M1 of Murray. Great battle for the lead here in our first heat race of the night in the GR Environmental Street Stocks, as now Thorne's going to lead it out of turn number 2, and Hale's going to get a run down back Murray for the 2nd spot. Great battle for the lead here. As I say that, here comes Jim Lampman in that 28 Camaro coming up from the back as he's now into 4th. Lampman now into 4th with that Camaro as Hale and Murray still going at it for the number 2 spot as Hale now pulls in front of the M1 of Murray bottom side. Looking pretty good right now for these street stocks as they come out of 4. 2 to go, 6 in, 2 to go for this first heat of our GNR Environmental Street Stocks. Murray not going away. He's all over the back bumper of that 79, but Mikey Thorne is definitely starting to put a little bit of distance away as he comes to the white flag. 1 lap to go in this first heat. Thorne definitely got about a quarter straightaway now on the 79 of Hale. He's got pressure from the M1 of Murray into turn number 1 and 2. Murray steps out of it as Hale came down the track a little bit on him there into 3 and 4. Final time out front. It is 55. Mikey Thorne looks like he is going to pick up the win over 79 Hale. M1 Murray. 4th will be 28 Lampman over 24 Bomberry, 3B Balker, 28D Lampman, and the 37J of Bean.
Starting in first from Merlin, Ontario in the 21 will be Spencer Smolders. Outside, row number 1 in the 25 from Hagersville, Ontario will be Ryan Dining. Inside, second row from Port Robinson, Ontario in the 108 JR will be Zach Bleach. Outside, second row from Niagara Falls, New York. The 1J2 will be Corey Sawyer. Starting in 5th position will be Go Fast Teeple from Thorold, Ontario in the 11. in 6th outside, 3rd row, Dave Bailey from Hagersville, Ontario in the 49. And rounding out the field in the final row from Port Coban, Ontario in the 11R, Bryce Richardson. And to his right, Pete Reed from Welland, Ontario in the 05.
Green flag out, heat number 2 for our street stock race here tonight as we go into turn number 1 and 2. Way up the track goes Dinning in that 25. He's off into the Raffadillies, and he's going to lose every single position as he'll be last on the back straightaways. We're 3 wide now with Bailey, Teeple, and Sawyer. Bailey already into the 3rd spot, always one to watch. I always say that, but it's always true as Bailey now gets to the outside of the 108 of Zach Leach. He's looking for 2nd into turn number 1 and 2. Smolders out front does a good job. He's from Merlin, Ontario, so quite a haul back for him tonight. He's going to want to make the best of it as he's out front leading this heat race right now, as we've got a great battle for that 2nd spot still between Bleach and Bailey. Bailey noses out in front this time. Bailey, that 49 handling great, is always starting to move in on Smolders. Smolders moves down the track trying to keep that 21 in the bite. 21 old style Monte Carlo on the 2 Camaros. The rest of the field, Camaros, Smolders, the only Monte Carlo out there. We're still 3 wide for that 4th spot between Sawyer, Teeple, and Reed. Sawyer now gets to the inside of Teeple, but he pushes way up. That opens the door for the 05 of Pete Reed down the back straightaway. In that 05, Reed into 4th. Halfway down this time for the 49 of Bailey, who's taking the lead over the 21 of Smolders. 108 to Bleach doing a good job to hold on to those 2 fast cars in front of him. 05 of Reed trying to move up and catch it. The top 3 getting into the battle in that 05. Smolders definitely not going away on the 49 of Bailey. He gave him the lead, but he's not going away. Gives him a tap in the middle of 1 and 2. Smolders definitely not scared of that 49 of Bailey. He's still all over him, definitely looking for any way by he can get, but he's definitely not going to get a mistake out of the 49. He's going to have to impose his will a little bit, I would think. 2 to go this time by for the 49 Jibs Action Sports of Dave Bailey, who does make a mistake and opens the door for Smolders as they're going to race side by side now down the back straightaway. Smolders got the bite. He's also got the horsepower. Bailey drives her in a little harder into 3 and 4. They touch just a little bit. Bailey into loose stuff. White flag out this time by, and we've got a side-by-side battle. Going to be a good one here for this feature between heat race, between Smolders and Bailey. Bailey crosses him over, tries to do the same thing Smolders did to him the lap before. Not going to work. Smolders holds the bottom down the back straightaway. Let's see what happens here. 2 more corners to go. Checker flag waving in the air. Who's it going to be? It will be Smolders over Bailey. Zach Leach in 3rd, Pete Reed 4th. 5th will be Dinning in the 25, then Sawyer in the 1J2, 11R of Richardson. And rounding out the field, had a little problem there on the last lap, is the 11 of Teeple. Car owner of the 33J wants to give a shout out to Chris Steele for lots of help with the shop this week, as the 33K was in the shop all week at the Chris Steele shop, and he wanted to say thank you for that, as we're green and Barry Beck in that 01 got all crossed up. Clint Nichols definitely a loser on that one as he had to back out, and he falls back to the 2nd last spot as up front. Fontaine did a good job on that start to get the lead over the 601. Knapp now in the 3rd spot. Beck settles into 4th. Bomberry in that nice looking new 21 now to the inside of Nichols down the back straightaway for that 5th spot. Fontaine out front over Larmont, and Knapp now is the top 3. Single file through the field now. Fontaine in that beautiful 1J doing a good job out front. Larmont in the 601 trying to reel him in. Definitely not letting him get away as they click off another lap. That time 3 in, 5 to go in our final heat race tonight for the street stocks. Beck now to the inside of the 33 of Knapp. Thinks better of it, backs out into 3. Going to give it another try on this lap as we're halfway down, 4 to go in this 8-lap heat for our street stocks here tonight. Final one. Yellow flag out for we got one up sideways on the top of turn number 1 and 2. That will be Tom Pearson in the 30 junior. He gets her spun around. Dukes a hazard a bit on the speedway there, and hopefully we'll get back green here soon. At the restart cone in 4. Fontaine jumps on it as soon as he gets there. Gets a great start out of 4. Fontaine will lead into turn number 1 and 2. 33J of Knapp does a good job to throw her in second under the 601 alarmment, trying to bring the Hamilton hot shoe of Clinton Nichols through with them. Nichols now into the third spot. We got that car around again into 1 and 2. He's going to try to keep her going, though, as we're 3 wide for the third spot out of 4 with Nichols, Larmett, and Beck. Larmett doing a good job on the top side to keep the momentum rolling. Held the third spot for now. Knapp on the bottom, holding there. Nichols trying to get even lower to look for an opening on the 33J. 1J of Fontaine still out front. He's been your leader all the way through this one, as we are 2 to go this time by for the 1J of Fontaine. Larmett and Nichols still battling for that third spot. Larmett pushes a little bit, forces Nichols up the track a little bit. Beck trying to think about go 3 wide into turn number 3, gives a shot to the 601 Larmett into 3. Nichols hanging that right rear out. High, wide, and handsome out of 4, gets the run down the front straightaway. And Nichols in that 43C moves into third. For the 43C and Nichols still hanging her out in 1 and 2. That might cost him, as Beck gets a good run down the back straightaway for that third spot. 0-1 of Beck inside of Nichols, but out of 4 final time. It's going to be Jason Fontaine picking up the win over 33J, Knapp, Larmett, Beck, and Clinton Nichols hard into the front stretch wall, coming to the checkers there. Tough break for Clinton Nichols there, coming to the checkers.
Inside row number 1 in the 44 from Port Colborne, Ontario, Ryan Anderson. Outside of him, also from Port Colborne, Ontario, Tim Anderson in the 15. Inside row number 2 from Thorold, Ontario in the 74 will be Marty Demol. Outside of him in the number 23 from Mont Hope, Ontario will be Jeffrey May. Starting in 5th position, the number 27, Sean Iftati. Outside of him in row number 3 will be Tyler Winger from Fort Erie, Ontario in the number 4. 4th row, inside. In the number 24 will be Randy Drew, and starting in 8th spot in the 07 from Niagara Falls, Ontario will be Chris Watson.
Good to see Tim Anderson got the 15 back together. He had some trouble last night, had a pretty big crash into the front straightaway walls. We got the white flag out. Last night's winner, 07 Watson in this heat. Mod Lite's always put on a good show in the miniature dirt modified look-alike with the motorcycle engines. Nice and slow into 3 and 4 to the start cones. See who gets the good start. It will be the 23 of May on the top side. He's going to lead into turn number 1 and 2. 74 of DeMol on the bottom. May slips up a little bit, but he gets the power down now off the top side of 2. Iftati in that 27 battling for the third spot with the 4 winger. Iftati on the bottom slides up a bit. Randy Drew in the 24 looking for any opening to get by the 2 cars in front of him. Takes the top lap. 1 leader will be May over DeMol. Iftati now slides way up off the top of 2. A lot of drivers having trouble there tonight, and that's going to be another one. Iftati going to have to fall to the back in that 27. As now DeMol almost falls off the top of 3 and 4. That opens up the door for the 4 of Winger to get by him for the second spot. Going to bring the 24 of Drew through with him. Drew now slides up and blocks the progress of the 74, but almost drives it off the top himself, and that's going to open up the door for the 07 last night's winner of Watson. Watson on the bottom of the 74 of DeMol down the front straightaway. Drew not giving up on the top, but he's going to see a inside full of orange here with that 07 now to the inside. There it is, and there he goes. 07 of Watson by the 24 Drew, who's hammering that top side. Drew now switches to the bottom, as he saw might be the faster way around, as Watson went by him there. 2 to go this time for the 23 of May, who has been leading from the drop of the green in that 23. Drew not giving up on the top side of 2, kicking up the dust off the top of 2 as we are white flag out now. 1 lap to go for the 23 of Jeffrey May in this first heat of our Mod Lights here tonight. Tim Anderson trying to get around the 27 of Iftati at the back of the pack, but into turn 3 and 4. Final time, checker flag in the air. It's going to be Jeffrey May picking up the win, heat number 1, followed by 4 Winger, 07, Watson. 24, Giroux. 74, DeMol. 27, Iftati. 15, Anderson. And the 44 of Ryan Anderson rounding out the field.
Thank you. This is how they're going to line up for heat number 2. It's also 6 laps. Starting in the first position from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 17, it's Josh Slitter. Outside row number 1 from Waterford, Ontario in the 8K, it's Dan Curving. Inside the second row will be Sean Slitter from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 09. Starting in fourth from Dunnville, Ontario will be Dave Cornish in the 291. Starting inside third row in the 5th position will be Dylan Slitter from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 50. Outside row number 3 in the 26 from Port Colborne, Ontario will be RJ Pitts. And starting in 7th position will be Brent Bigelow in the number 16. Starting in last position in the 8th outside 4th row for Port Colborne, Ontario, Riley Slitter in the 6S.
Lots of sliders in this heat race. Slider on the pole, curving outside pole. Sean Slider in the 09. Inside row number 2, outside RJ Pitts as we are coming to green this time. Green flag is out and we are racing in the second heat race here for the Mod Lights tonight. Slider in that 17. Josh Slider gets a good run. His uncle Sean Slider now into second in the 09. No stranger to Humberstone Speedway, those two, as they've had lots around here in the Mod Lights throughout the years. Is now Dylan Slider, Sean's son, in the 50, looking to the inside of RJ Pitts, who pushes up a little bit out of 4. Going to open up the door for the 50 of Dylan Slider. It's 16 of Brent Bigelow, also hanging there in that top 5 at the moment. Top 5 on the bottom. Dylan Slider slides up a little bit, opens up the door for Bigelow, but he closes it off. Out of turn number 4. Bigelow can't do nothing that time. Josh Slider starting to pull away a little bit as Sean Slider slides up in turn number 1 and 2. It pits down on the bottom, pretty much running the very bottom of the back straightaway. Lots of bite down there still. And the 26 had his rear tires in there and charging hard on the 09 of Slider as he looks to his inside now for the second spot as we're halfway in this final heat race for the Mod Lights. Pitts now to the inside of the 09 of Sean Slider in 3 and 4. Slider tries to cross him back under, but Pitts does a good job to block the progress of the 09, not letting him to turn it back under. But now Pitts misses the bottom a little bit in the middle of 3 and 4, but he gathers it back in, gets the wheels and the good stuff out of 4 as we're yellow. We've got Yep. Couldn't see the yellow there, but it is for the 8 of Curving, who got around in turn number 3 and 4. Had a pillar blocking me there. Slider with a nice pace through 3 and 4. Green flag back in the air. Hammers are down, and we are racing with 2 to go in this final Mod Light heat race of the night. Dylan Slider looks to the inside of his old man, Sean, who misses the bottom and gets into the middle out of turn number 2. Dylan down in the good stuff in that number 50. Races into turn number 3 and 4. Father-son battle for that 3rd spot as Riley Slider in that 6S. She's been rolling good in that thing. Looked to the inside of Bigelow there, but she got a little loose, and that opened up the door for Curving to get by her with the white flag in the air this time. Bigelow trying everything he can to get around the 50 of Dylan Slider, but into 3 and 4. Final time. Checker flag in the air. Winner of heat race number 2. Savage Chassis. That will be Josh Slider over RJ Pitts. Sean Slider, Dylan Slider, Brent Bigelow, Dan Curving, Riley Slider, and the 219 of Dan Cornish rounds out the field. Feature, and here's how they're going to line up for Heat 1.
Starting in the front row from Stony Creek, Ontario, the number 53 will be Jason Fairway. Outside, row number 1 will be Dave Flanagan Jr. in the 74 from Port Colborne, Ontario. Inside, row number 2 will be Nathan Piatti from Ridgeway, Ontario in the 23N. Outside, row number 2 will be Daniel McKay. Inside, row number 3 from Fort Erie, Ontario in the 20G will be Bill Gill. Starting in 6th, Terry Smith from Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 22, and rounding out the field from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 17C will be Jordan Costco.
Fairway and Flanagan on that front row. Flanagan in that Outlaw chassis in the 74. Had a good run last week, 2nd place at Merrittville. Looking for green out of 4 this time for the 53 of Fairway and the 74 of Flanagan. Green flag in the air. They're banging door bars a little bit into turn number 1 and 2. Flanagan gets a good run through the middle. Is going to slide up, try to catch the cushion, but there's nothing there. 53 of Fairway gets a good run down the middle, and he's going to lead into turn number 3 and 4. Petey in the 23 now looks to the inside of Flanagan, but Flanagan grabs the bottom and is going to try to roll up on the 53 of Fairway for that lead. They're racing down the bottom of turn number 1 and 2. Fairway misses a little bit, opens up the door for Flanagan in that 74, but can't do nothing right now as Costco gets by the 13 of McKay now for that 5th spot. Petey gets a little bit loose there in 3 and 4. See what happens there as the 22 of Terry Smith looking to the inside of him, looking for any way by that 23 in front of him. There's the opening the 22 is looking for as he gets down to the inside of Petey, and he's going to take away the 3rd spot in that 22. That's Terry Smith into 3rd now as he gets a little shot from the back of the 23 of Petey. I don't think he's going to like that one as he gathers it back in though. And now he's going to have to battle with Jordan Costco as Petey takes over 3rd with that little bit of a bump to the back of the 22. Now we got a battle for the lead as we're halfway down in this first heat race of the night for our Sterling Lubricant Sportsman, Dave Flanagan Jr. in that 74. Gets her in there on the 53 of Fairway. Flanagan got the left rear and the good stuff out of 2. He's going to lead her down the back straightaway. New leader, that's 74. It is Dave Flanagan Jr. Costco now trying to move in on the 23 of Petey, who gets a little loose in the middle of 1 and 2. Costco definitely moving in on 23 of Petey, who drives her in way too deep that time and slides up the track. Costco trying to move in as we're 2 down. 2 to go this time for our leader, the 74 of Dave Flanagan Jr. Petey again misses the bottom, and now Costco is inside of him down the back straightaway. Jordan Costco, that 17C, to the inside of Nathan Petey in the 23. White flag out this time for Flanagan, battle for 3rd. Costco's going to take it in that Barron Roofing 17C. Back straightaway for the final time into 3 and 4. Sails it through 3 and 4. It's that 74 Outlaw chassis. Dave Flanagan Jr. picking up the win in heat number 1, followed by Fairway, Jordan Costco, Nathan Petey, Terry Smith, Dan McKay, and 20J G of Bill Gill.
Starting in the front row from Thorold, Ontario on the 34 will be Greg Roscher. Outside, row number 1 in the 68 will be Curtis Friesen. Inside, the 2nd row from Port Colborne, Ontario, the 62 will be John Babian. Starting in the 4th position from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 12P will be Emily Pachalowski. Starting in 5th position in the 3N from Ridgeway, Ontario, Noah Mamo. Starting in 6th in the 1F will be Ryan Ferry. Rounding out the field, starting in 7th, the 2K will be Rob Knapp.
Heat number 2 for the Sportsman. Rolling down the back straightaway here on Gaston Auto Sales and Service Night at Humberstone Speedway. Definitely a great night to be out at the track. Perfect weather for it. Super slow into 3 and 4 for the 62 of Babian now. But the RPMs are going to start to come up, and green flag is out. Curtis Friesen in that 68 gets a good jump on the 62 of Babian. As now the 12 of Pachalowski falls off the top of turn number 1 and 2. That's another one where turn number 1 and 2 bites. She is going to, looks like, come up lame there in turn number 1 and 2. Emily Pachalowski bringing out the yellow there off the top of turn number 2. Rob Knapp in that 2K always looking pretty as well. Going back into the Sportsman division this year in the 2K as we are looking for green in this second heat race. This time out of 4, it is green flag in the air. Friesen gets another good start, pretty much a copy of the last green flag start, as this time into turn number 1 and 2, everyone gets through nice as nope. The 34 Rauscher is going to take a tour into the Raffadillies off turn number 1 and 2. See if you can get her brought back on as we are side-by-side racing in 3 and 4. Lots of side-by-side battles. We come out of the turn. Ryan Ferry in that 1F does a great job to get around the 3N of Mamo into that third spot. Going to set his sights on the 62 of Babian. In front of him is now Rob Knapp. Gets to the inside. Looks like we've got the yellow flag out. '68 leader Curtis Friesen not hearing the yellow. Might get the memo here. Green flag in the air again. Friesen now on the bottom, gets a good start. Babian going to try to do what he did to him, roll her through the middle, and get some bite out of turn number 1 and 2. Babian drifts her up into the cushion out of turn number 2, but that opens the door for the 1F of Ferry, who's now following Friesen in on the bottom side, looking to get by the 62 of Babian. Mamo not going away in that 3. Knapp looking to the inside of him. Knapp looking to move into the top 4 in that 2K. Noah Mamo now into third, but Knapp wants it out of 2 as Babian got all crossed up out of turn number 2 and gave away 2 spots there to the 3N of Noah Mamo and the 2K of Rob Knapp, who now move into third and fourth respectively, but out front it's still all Curtis Friesen in that 68. Emily Pachelski now, after her lap 1 troubles, moving into the inside of the 62 of Babian. She's looking to move up another spot in that 12P. Babian defensive driving, holding the line now in that 62, shuts the door on her into turn number 1 and 2 as Friesen down the back straightaway, still your leader as the 1F of Ferry is trying his best to move in on your leader, Curtis Friesen, as we come down to click off 5 laps, 3 to go into this second heat race for our Sterling Lubricants Sportsman. Ferry now tosses her in on the high side, going to try the cushion out of 4. Definitely looks like there's lots of good bite up there, and he's carrying the momentum, but Friesen's got the good bite on the bottom side as well. Definitely looks like the high side in 3 and 4. You can bring some momentum, but you got to duck her down to the bottom in turn number 1 and 2. 3 and 4, lots of bite still out of 4. Even look like a little bit of a berm forming up as Ferry's trying to use that to get around the 68 of Friesen as they come to the white flag this time now. White flag out, checker flag going to be coming out this time by 1. Final stab for the 1F of Ferry. He's riding the high side trying to get around Kurt Mann in the 68. Not going to happen. Friesen wins over Ferry. Mamo, good job in third over Knapp, Babian, Pachelski, and the 34 of Rocher.
Starting in the front row in the 66P from Ridgeway, Ontario will be Jeff Penante. Outside row number 1 will be Luke Carlton in the 96B from Port Colborne, Ontario. Inside second row, Greg Penante from Port Colborne, Ontario, and the 99P. Outside row number 2, starting in 4th position from Port Robinson, Ontario, and the 108 will be Bill Bleach. Starting in 5th, inside 3rd row, and the number 20 will be Jay Mallory. Starting in the 6th position will be Taylor Vanderzan in the 74X, rounding out the field from St. Catharines, Ontario, James Friesen in the 72.
Green flag's out. Final heat race of the night. Penante gets crossed up into turn number 1 and 2. Carlton trying on the top side, but here comes sponsor of the night car, that 99P of Greg Penante in the Gaston's Auto Sales and Service car, trying to throw it in there on the bottom side of Carlton, who's not giving up on the high side. Carlton at 96, that's where he usually likes to run, trying to get around the 66P of Jeff Penante, who is your leader right now. Carlton crosses him over, gets to the inside now. Penante down the back straightaway, going to have a battle for the lead. Carlton backs out of it, opens up the door for the 99 of Penante, who now tries to cross him over out of 4, as Jeff Penante in that 66 still leads as they put on lap 2. Jay Mallory into 4th. JMF in behind him in 5th. Luke Carlton looks to the inside again, still can't get in there. Here comes Greg Penante in the Gaston Auto Service, 99P around the outside. Cannot find the bite, but he's not going to give up yet. Going to try the top side in 1 and 2, see what happens here. Penante, no stranger to Humberstone Speedway in that 99. Lots of feature wins. Here comes JMF now looking to the outside of Mallory. Going to try to see what Penante's doing, see if he can make it work as well. As now we're side by side for 2nd and 3rd. Penante not giving up on that top side, but still can't quite get beside the 96 of Carlton. Still battling Mallory and JMF as well. Definitely good action, though, in this heat race. There's lots of side-by-side action as they come down now to click off lap number 5. Panunte now tries it again. Panunte and Friesen in that 72, not giving up on the top side, but they just can't quite get enough bite. That time, Panunte shows a nose to the outside of Carlton in number turn 1 and 2. Panunte might see, turn 1 and 1 does not have enough bite on the top side, and that's where the bottom has the advantage out of 2. But Panunte definitely getting a good run out of 4 that last time as we come to see the white flag this time. Jeff Panunte out front the whole time in that 66P, definitely doing a good job, not giving up the line. If someone's going to pass him, he was going to make him go around, but as I say that, he opens up the door for the 96 of Carlton, who's just going to let him have it into turn number 3. He could have pushed the issue a little bit more, but out of turn number 4, final time checker in the air. It's going to be 66, Jeff Panunte over Luke Carlton, Greg Panunte, James Michael Friesen, Jay Mallory, and that was a close one at the line between Bleach and Van der Zanden.
There are a lot of things in this world that are fake. Your food shouldn't be one of them. Pinty's Man Cave sausages and street dogs. Authentic food for real people. Crave the cave, friends. Pinty's Man Cave.
A guy like this, who relies on his truck for work, knows that his truck will take care of him if he takes care of his truck. And WeatherTech has always been the ultimate protection. From floor liners to no-drill mud flaps to tech liner for your truck bed to bump step to the handy under-seat storage system. And Cup Phone keeps phones secure in any cup holder. Order your ultimate protection today at weathertech.ca.
Row number 1, Sean Hughes from Beamsville, Ontario in the 7B. Starting in the 3rd row on the inside from Linden, Ontario in the 11E, Jeff Elzinger. Starting in the 4th position, outside, row number 2, Leroy Buscombe from Smithville, Ontario in the 44B. Starting inside, row number 3 from Fonthill, Ontario in the 5K will be Ken Hare. Starting in 6th position from Smithville, Ontario in the 6S, Mike Sarantokos. Starting in the 7th position inside row number 4 from Ancaster, Ontario in the 16 will be Fabio Oliveri. Starting in the 8th position outside row number 4 in the 44 from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Danny Worster. Starting inside row number 5 in 9th position from Welland, Ontario in the 38S, Sam Iftati. In the 10th position outside row number 5 from Fonthill, Ontario in the 3K will be Kevin Korsick. Kokrick. I knew I was going to mess that one up. All right, starting in the 6th row, inside, Mike Evers from Caledonia, Ontario in the 265. Outside, row number 6 in the 12th, John Luback from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 14th L. And starting in the 13th position, Ray Serenzia from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 71C.
Hughes and Hare going to lead him to green. Hoskins and Olivieri been strong in third and fourth, looking for any mistake out of the leaders so they can pounce, try to get their hands on that $300 at the end of this one. Nice and slow through 3 and 4. Leader fires whenever he wants between the cones. We are green. Flag RPMs are up. Cuse gets another good start, this time off the bottom, and that's 7G Bug. Hare looking for a way by, but gets the left front crossed up. Now we got one off the top. It's the 14 of Lubeck. A little too hard into 1 and 2 that time. Slips her off the top side as here comes Cuse down to lead another lap as we've got Hoskins and Hare slamming into the inside of each other down the front straightaway. Definitely a little love being shown between the 5 of Hare and the 37 of Hoskins, as now we're going to go 3 wide almost. No, Buscombe gets by Hoskins first. Hare still able to power down the back straightaway in the second spot in that 5. Hare definitely got a push in the middle of the corners in that cart. Maybe got a right front going flat as now he pounds the side of the 44 of Buscombe. I'm thinking Hare definitely having some handling problems in that 5. Got to be a tire going down or something, as he is definitely a little bit wobbly down the front straightaway. Back in the pack, 14 of Lubeck now recovering from that tour off the top of 1 and 2. In that old Ford Mustang 14 mini stock. Starter now gives the spank on the bum sign to the 5 of Hare. A little bit of warning with that rolled up black flag telling Hare to smarten up, or he might unfurl that black flag. Sean Cuse, 7G, way out front of this one as the starter gives the high 5 signal to the driver's 5 to go for the $300 to win Dow Auto mini stock feature here tonight. Cuse definitely been the leader in this one. He's been fast every mini stock race I've seen so far this year in that 7G. Here he goes to click off another one. 4 to go this time for Cuse, is now Hoskins looking maybe to the outside as he gets loose out of 4. Olivieri does him a solid there and gets out of it. He could have sent him across the front straightaway for sure, but Olivieri, very sportsmanlike move there to let the 37 gather it up. As we race into turn 3 and 4 this time, now Buscombe in that second spot. Hare trying to gain back in on him after he lost the spot to the 44 a couple laps ago, but Cuse all alone out in front. I don't think there's any way he can hear anyone around him. He must know he's got a good little bit of a lead. He's just got to hold on now for a couple more laps, as we're going to see 2 to go this time for the 7G of Sean Cuse in that Volkswagen Bug. Buscombe second, Hare third, Hoskins fourth, Olivieri rounding out the top 5. Sarantakos in that 6S doing a good job after being involved in the first yellow to garner himself back into the 6th spot in that 6. Now gets into the back of Olivieri a little bit in the 16 down the back straightaway. His white flag is out this time by for the 7G of Cuse. Lap traffic in front of the 7G of Cuse. Not going to be a factor, though, as he's only got 2 more corners to navigate before he brings home the $300 here tonight in our Dow Auto mini stock feature. Out of turn 4, it's going to be Sean Cuse, your winner. Battle for second out of 4. Oh, we got one for 5th. Sarantakos got by Olivieri, so it's going to be second. Buscombe, third. Hare, 4th. Hoskins, 5th. Sarantakos, and 6th. Olivieri at the line. Going to pull the steering wheel off. Here he comes climbing out of the car, winner of Dow Auto mini stock feature tonight. Give it a hand of Sean Cuse. All right, Sean, get you around front here. Good job. You definitely been fast here in the Niagara region recently. You definitely been up front every race I've seen you. I knew it would be a matter of time before we'd be talking to you. You got the lead early in that one. Just put her to the wood, held her out front. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell what was going on behind. I was just going as fast as I could.
Yeah, I even said at one point, did you hear them? I didn't think there was going to be any way you would hear them because you had a pretty good lead. Tell us about everyone that helped you out. I can see your family super excited down here. Telling everyone that helps out on this bug here and that helped you get to this $300 win here tonight.
Yeah, well, Sierra for sure. She does like all the work on the car, all the maintenance. Jody, my wife. And we got SP Motorsports. They're the reason why this thing is as fast as it is. And we've got a lot of help from Rouse Racing as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Tonight's winner in the Dow Auto Mini Stocks, it's Sean Cuse. Next up, going to be your Mod Lite feature. I'm going to throw it up to Steve in the booth, and he's going to give you the starting lineup.
Starting on the pole position in the number 17 from Port Colborne, Ontario, Josh Slitter. Outside, row number 1 from Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 07 will be Chris Watson. Inside, row number 2 from Fort Erie, Ontario in the number 4 will be Tyler Winger. Outside, row number 2, starting in 4th position from Montauk, Ontario in the number 23 will be Jeffrey May. Starting in the 5th position, inside, row number 3, Dylan Slitter from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 50. Outside row number 3 in the 09, also from Port Colborne, Ontario, Sean Slitter. Starting in the 4th row, RJ Pitts in the 26 from Port Colborne, Ontario. Starting in the 8th position in the number 24 will be Randy Giroux. Inside, number 5, starting in the 9th position from Thorold, Ontario, number 74, Marty DeMole. Starting in 10th, Brent Bigelow in the number 16. Starting in the 11th position will be Sean Iftati in the 27th. Starting in 12th from Waterford, Ontario in the 8K, Dan Kirving. Starting in the 7th row, inside from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 15 will be Tim Anderson. Starting outside, 7th row, Riley Slitter, also from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 6S. In the 8th row, starting in 5th position for Port Colborne, Ontario, it's the number 44 of Ryan Anderson. And starting in the 16th position from Dunnville, Ontario in the 291 will be Dave Cornish.
All right, field assembling behind our Brian Cullen Motors Chevrolet Silverado Pace Truck. Slider and Watson, 2 fast cars on the front row here tonight. Definitely going to be a good show with lots of front runners up at the front. Definitely a heads-up start here tonight. Looks like we're going to give them a couple pace laps, then we're going to go green here tonight in our 15-lap Mod Lite feature. Slider in that 17, usually loose to see in Victory Lane. I don't think he has a win yet this year. He's working on that 17 car that he built himself with a couple others. RJ Pitts, I know, is one of them. But Josh in that 17 Savage chassis looking for a feature win here tonight. Watson looking to double up on the weekend in that 07. White flag is out. We're going to go green next time by for our 15-lap modified light feature. My sheet says 20 laps. Could be either or. Humberstone Speedway pace truck pulling into the infield. Slider and Watson going to lead him to green. Winger and May in behind them. Lots of heavy hitters at the front with the Slider father-son in behind them with Dylan and Sean. Green flag is out. We are racing tonight with our Mod Lite feature. Slider gets a good jump in that 17 down the front straightaway. Winger tries to throw it on the bottom of Watson, who gets a little loose. Couldn't get the car to rotate. Once he did it over, rotated a bit in turn number 2, and that cost him 2 spots to the 4 of Winger and the 23 of May, who's now pounding that topside in 3 and 4. Freshly watered topside. We got one off the top. Looks like the 74 of DeMole gets her gathered back in, and we will stay green. Watson now feeling the pressure from the 26 of Pitts. Slider and Slider, father-son, 08-50. Or 09 in the 50. They're battling side by side for that 6th spot right now as the dad in the 09. That's Sean Slider. Gets by son Dylan now for the 6th spot, and he looks to move in on the 07 of Watson. Now change for the lead up front, 23, Jeffrey May. He's got a brand new car, I'm pretty sure, this weekend, and he's putting her to the high side. Got around the 17 of Slider in 3 and 4 that time as we got a new leader. It's Jeffrey May. May now the leader. Slider getting into the high side. Good stuff in turn number 1 and 2. Lots of bite up top in 3 and 4. Now that they've watered it, looking nice and sticky brown on the top side in 3 and 4, and both your leaders are using it in that side of the speedway. They both go to the top side in 1 and 2 now. Leaders, all top 4 are now running the high side in all the way around the speedway, so top side definitely starting to come in here at Humberstone. May going to click off another lap here in that 23. Slider might be falling back just a little bit as Winger in third trying to gain his way forward, but he might be falling back just a little bit from the Slider 17 as we've got a now battle for the 5th spot with the 07 of Watson and the 08 of Slider, who gets around him on the high side. Watson trying to fight back though on the bottom in that 07. Side by side now down the front straight between If Toddy and Dylan Slider in that 50. If Toddy in that 27. Dylan gives him a slider in 1 and 2. If Toddy didn't like that, gave him a little shot in the rear bumper, said, I don't think so, son. I might be giving you one back. But Dylan Slider in the 50 able to pull away for now as Jeffrey May in that 23 continues to lead. He's making beautiful laps on the top side of the speedway in that beautiful number 23 machine as Slider now is starting to turn up the wick a little bit and gain in on that number 23 of May. Slider definitely wants to win. May looks like he had to get out of it a little bit. Slider all over him now into turn number 1 and 2. Slider down at the bottom, May to the high side. Slider might have kicked her into high gear now as he's racing that 23 of May as they got coming up on the lap car of Cornish. Slider picks up a push there. Good move to May to move down to the inside. Blue flag showed to the 291 as he gets out of the way of the leader. Slider now switches down to the bottom side. And he clears the lapper, and he's going to continue his chase on the 23 of May, who is coming up on another lapper. It looks like the 8 of Curving at the backside of the field now. He crossways in, 10 down, 10 to go in the 20-lap Mod Lite feature here tonight. May been doing a good job since he took over that lead. He's now switched to the bottom side in 1 and 2. Slider still pounding the top. May to the top side now to try to get around the lap car. Slider throws it in hard, trying to chase him down, shows the blue flag to the 8 of Curving. Curving lets your leaders by into turn number 1 and 2. May now down to the bottom. Slider still sticking with the top side, trying to chase him down. Winger still solidly in third. Pitts in fourth. And 09 Sean Slider rounds out the top 5 as Drew gets off the top side to turn number 1 and 2. Another one bites the dust there in that spot here tonight, and Drew loses 2 spots to 07 Watson and 16 of Bigelow that time. Leader now coming in on the back of the 74 of DeMol. DeMol getting showed the blue flag. Let's see if he shows the leader some courtesy. He goes to the top side, holds a pretty line, allows the 23 of May to get by him on the bottom side. Well done by the 74 DeMol. That time is now May moves in on the next 2 lappers is the 44 and the 6. That's Slider and the 44 of Ryan Anderson are the next 2 to go a lap down for the 23 of Jeffrey May. May sticks to the high side, didn't get quite as good. Actually, they slid up in front of him. He didn't really like to see that. He's hoping to get by clean this time as he shows the nose to the outside. They're going to go 3 wide with the leader into turn number 1 and 2, and they both slide up in front of him. That definitely opens up the door for Josh Slider in that 17. As now Jeffrey May does a great job to cross it over. We got one around in the middle of 3 and 4. Yellow flag's going to have to come out. Can't quite see who it is. All I see is the back of the car at the moment. Ooh, possibly the 50 of Dylan Slider. That's who it is. Looped around in 3 and 4. Coming to green this time. 23 of May. Definitely looking for a good start on the bottom. He's been the leader for the last quite a while as he got by the 17 of Slider, who was our early leader. Slider going to be looking to get back by for the lead. Green flag is out. 5-lap shootout here for our Mod Lite division. 09 of Slider gets a horrible start. That Sean Slider opens up the door for the 16 of Bigelow. RJ Pitts loses it in that spot. That's been ever so troublesome here tonight. Lots of drivers having trouble with it. RJ Pitts going to fade back to the back of the pack as now Josh Slider in that 17 gets around the 23 of May in 3 and 4. Josh Slider uses that high side to his advantage to get back around the 23 of Jeffrey May, who bobbled that time in 3 and 4. Slider, the wily veteran that he is, saw his advantage and took it. Let's see if he can hold on now for the final 2 laps here in our Mod Lite feature. May definitely not trying to give up. He's going away. Not going away. Winger now working the bottom side in that 4. Watson up to 4th in the 07. As now Slider off the top side of 2. May might be catching him just a little bit. As here we come now down to 2 to go in our Mod Lite feature here tonight. Josh Slider, your leader in that 17 car, did a good job on the restart to get back by the 23MA who had got by him in the middle stages of the race. White flag out this time by Slider. 4 more corners to go in that Savage chassis to try to pick up his first win on the year in that number 17. Slider puts the power down the back straightaway into turn 3 and 4. Final time. Slider on the high side. May follows him through. Checkered flag in the air. It's going to be Josh Slider, followed by the 23, Jeffrey May, Tyler Winger, Chris Watson, Randy Giroux, Sean Iftati, Brent Bigelow, Sean Slider, RJ Pitts, Tim Anderson, Dylan Slider, Marty DeMole, Ryan Anderson, Dan Curring, Riley Slider, and Dave Cornish rounds out the field here tonight. Good job to the 17 of Slider. Here he comes climbing out of the car. Put your hands together. Tonight's Mod Lite feature winner, 17, Josh Slider. All right, Josh. So there's a Savage chassis. I've been saying it's your deal and with some partners. Why don't you tell us about that deal first before you tell us about your feature win? Who's your partners in this thing? I think it's the first win on it.
Yeah, this is the first win with the car. We've been struggling pretty bad. We decided because we can't go across the border, we'd just try and build our own. So me, Rob, my dad, and Dan Curving decided we would start our own thing. So this is the second car actually built. The first one we didn't get the parts on yet. We kind of rushed this one through because I knew it was for me.
All right, so you got the lead early off the start, and then you let the 23MA get by you, but then you found the top side on that restart. Was the track coming in up there? Tell us about your move for the win.
After May went by me, I knew the top was better. I was just a sitting duck on the bottom because I was just glued down on the heat race and just around the rail was quickest. But as soon as he went by me, I knew I had to get up there, and I got back to him in lap traffic. But I don't know if I would have got him if we didn't get that restart. All
right, tell us about your sponsors to help you out on this 17, and that'll be the last thing here tonight.
Well, first, I want to thank Terry for having us out. He called me Monday night, and then his deal came together pretty quick. I think within an hour, we had all 16 drivers committed, and happy to be here. And so I'd like to thank Tender Cuts, of course. Sean just supplies us with food every race weekend, and we eat like pigs, and we feel 20 pounds heavier every time we go to the track. I want to thank ProFab. Luke built the body for this. Tiber River by Mattia, Dressel Steelworks, Hollow Maple Farms, Savage Chassis, and everyone that helped out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. First win on the season tonight. First win on the Savage Chassis for the 17 of Josh Slider. Up next here at Humberstone, 600 to win GR Environmental Street Stocks. I'm going to throw it up to Steve in the booth, and he's going to give you the starting lineup.
Thank you, Travis Cunningham, out in victory lane with your winner. This is how they're going to line up for your 20-lap feature event, your Thunder Stocks. Starting on the pole position, the number 55 from Caledonia, Ontario, will be Mike Thorne, outside, row number 1. Spencer Smolders from Merlin, Ontario, in the 21. Inside, row number 2, Jason Fontaine from Port Colborne, Ontario, in the 1J. Outside, row number 2. Starting in 4th position, Christopher Hale from Guelph, Ontario, in the 79. Starting in the 3rd row, from Hagersville, Ontario, in the 49, will be Dave Bailey. Outside in the 6th position, row number 3, Kevin Knapp from Allenburg, Ontario, and the 33J. Starting in the 4th row in the M1 from St. Catharines, Ontario, Rob Murray in 8th position from Port Robinson, Ontario, and the 108 JR will be Zach Bleach. Starting in the 5th row, spot number 9 from St. Catharines, Ontario, and the 601 will be Jeff Larmont. Starting in the 5th row, outside, starting in 10th, Jim Latman from Caister Center, Ontario, in the 28th. Starting in 11th position, inside, row number 6, in the 05 from Welland, Ontario, will be Pete Reed. Starting in the 12th position, Blake Bomberry Sr. from Oswego, Ontario, in the 21B. And starting in the 13th position will be Blake Bomberry Jr. In the 7th row, starting in the 14th position, from Hagersville, Ontario, will be number 25, will be Ryan Dining. In the 15th position, from Hamilton, Ontario, in the 43C, will be Clinton Nichols. Starting outside, 8th row, in the 16th position, from Hagersville, Ontario, in the 3B, will be Devin Bacher. Starting in the 17th position, Corey Sawyer from Niagara Falls, New York, in the 1J2. Starting in the 18th position will be Barry Beck Jr. Inside row number 10, Donnie Lapman from Caister Centre, Ontario in the 28D. And outside row number 10 from Port Colborne, Ontario and 11R will be Bryce Richardson. In the 11th row, starting in 21st from Port Colborne, Ontario, and the 30JR will be Tom Pearson. Outside of him, starting outside row number 11 in the 22nd starting position. In the 37J from Dunnville, Ontario, Jeff Bean. Rounding out the field in the 12th row, starting in 23rd position from Thorold, Ontario, in the 11 will be Go Fast Teeple.
Thank you, Steve. 20 laps the distance tonight for our GR Environmental Street Stock feature. Mike Thorne in that pesky Penguin Burger Barn 55 on the pole. Kevin Knapp in the 33J to his outside. Car owner JT Miller wants to thank Chris Steele for the help of the shop use during the week. Definitely art as hell as well from Welland, new sponsor on the 33J. Rob Murray and Dave Bailey, definitely a fire row in the row number 2. Those two drivers definitely know their way to victory lane at every speedway around. Going to be fun to watch them work on the front row on the opening laps with Jim Lampman and Pete Reed, also no strangers to victory lane there as well, with Fonz and behind them. Said it before, say it again. Thanks to Danny at Gaston's Auto Sales for sponsoring the night tonight. Definitely look like they're having lots of fun over in the booth. Couple over from us, and the white flag is out here, and we're going to get green next time by in our GNR Environmental Street Stock feature. 20 laps, 600 to win here tonight. Good payout for the winner here. Brian Conlon Motors Pace Truck into the infield. We've got Thorne and Knapp on the front row. Murray and Bailey definitely going to be looking to get into the top spot as soon as possible as they want that $600. Green flag is out. And we are racing down the front straightaway in our 20-lap street stock feature here tonight. Lampman gives a little bit of a shot to the M1 Murray, but it gives Murray a great boost to the inside. Murray's going to go fourth to first down the back straightaway, possibly on the inside of the 55 of Thorne into turn number 3. Rob Murray in that M1. Doing a good job, and looks like he will lead lap 1 out of 4 as Bailey's moved up into third. He's got Kevin Knapp on his rear quarter panel. Those two rubbing a little fenders as Bailey picks up a bit of a push that time in 1 and 2, but still able to get the run under Knapp and take over the third spot as Thorne not going away in the 55 Burger Barn ride. He goes to the outside of Murray. Let's see if the top side can hold up for these street stocks. Thorne in that 55 now tucks to the inside of the M1 of Murray. Murray not going to give up that bottom. That's how he knows how to get around. He wins lots of end-of-year street stock 50-lap specials. So when the track gets slick, always look for that M1 of Murray. That's the way he likes it. We got a car around in turn number 3 and 4. It is the 33 of Knapp. Car taking evasive action to the top side of 4. I think that was 79 Hale and 24 Bomberry. Tough break for Knapp as he goes around in the middle of 3 and 4 and collects Dinning in the 25 as well. We're going to take that lap. So 3 in, 17 to go here for our $600 to win GNR Environmental Street Stock feature. Rob Murray doing a good job so far out front in this one. Bailey in third, Thorne second. Bailey not able to move into the second spot yet. Murray holding that bottom side. Here we go. Green flag is out. We are back underway in our street stock feature here tonight. Good start for the 55 of Thorne. He's going to pressure the M1 of Murray into turn number 1 and 2. Now Thorne gets a good run on the hot side, but can he get the bite down the back straightaway as Murray's got good bite down the inside in that M1. Thorne fighting to the outside of that M1. Now Dave Bailey poking his nose around the backside of that M1 of Murray. Bailey just kind of waiting, trying to pick his moves. He knows he's got lots of laps left in this street stock feature here tonight. Is now Thorne definitely going to take the lead possibly away from Murray into turn 3 and 4. Thorne doing a good job finding that high side. in the 55 ride. He's keeping the back end under him, and it's working as he takes the lead away from Murray that time. Mikey Thornton rolling the middle like a pro in that 55 ride at the moment. Murray definitely not going to go away, though. Everyone knows that. Oh, we got one around in turn number 3 and 4. That was the 21 of Smolders. Tough luck for him, as also the 1J2 of Sawyer gets into it in a whole bunch. We got a gaggle of them together in 3 and 4. Bean, looks like both one Lampman car. Teeple, Bacher. Definitely a parking lot over there in 3 and 4. Tough luck for those drivers. Into 3 and 4. Murray and Thorne at the line. We are green flag racing again here at Humberstone Speedway in the street stocks. Thorne gets a good run. Murray tucks right in. He was waiting for that spot to open up so he could tuck in behind the 55 ride of Thorne. Now we're 3 wide for the third spot. Bailey must have missed that corner in 1 and 2 as he's got Fonz and Reed all over him, inside, outside, into turn 3 and 4. 3 wide for third as here comes Mikey Thorne to click off another lap in that 55 ride. Burger Barn sponsored Pesky Penguin. Here we go, 3 wide for second now. Peter Reed, he's found the outside in that 05 ride. Nice looking machine here this year for the 05 Reed. Glad to have him back after taking a year off last year, I believe. Reed showing he's not rusty in that 05. He's pounding the top side in it, and he is getting a good run. The watering definitely starting to come in now as the top side starting to generate some bite for these drivers. Pete Reed definitely putting her to good use as now he loses the spot back to Murray, but Pete Reed's not going to give up on that top side. Bailey trying to roll the middle in the 49 as the top 2 leaders are still rolling the bottom as we've got a great race for the lead here. Reed always gets a great run out of 4, gives it up a little bit in turn 2. But definitely good bite out of 4 for the money lap for anyone wanting to try it in turn 3 and 4. Want to give the high side to go as Reed really piles her in that side on the top side of 3 and 4 as we come to halfway down as Reed leads that line. Like I said, he is getting a great run off 4 on the high side. Does have to give up a little in 1 and 2, but he's starting to figure it out as now he's going to lead off turn number 2 and get the run down the back straightaway. 3 wide for the second spot with Thorne Murray and Dave Bailey in that 49. Pete Reed running the high side like a pro in that 05. He started pretty far back in this one. He's worked his way to the front. He wants that $600 big time as now Bailey, he might have just been hanging out. He's going to show a nose to the inside of Reed. Reed's going to see him and give him a little wiggle into 3, but Reed's going to pound the top side in 3 and 4 again because he knows he's fast up there. Let's see what he does in turn number 1 and 2 this time. Will he chop down the nose and try to get to the bottom of the 49? Nope. Reed's going to be a sportsman and give lots of room for the 49 to race. As now the 49 is going to pull us alongside the 05 of Reed down the back straightaway side by side for the lead with the 49 of Dave Bailey and the 05 of Pete Reed. Great race. Reed going to get the bite again out of turn number 4. He knows he's got the bite out of the money corner. So he will give the bottom again to the 49 of Bailey, who doesn't want the bottom. He runs more down in the middle, trying to keep that right front on the left rear of the 05 of Reed. Reed gets a good shot down the back straightaway. Not talking about anyone else, but the battle's so good for the lead right now, it's hard to talk about anything else as here comes Reed again, leads that lap as Hale has worked his way up as well into the third spot on the high side in that 79. Hale had a little trouble earlier, involved in one of the cautions, but he doesn't care. He's wheeling her back up into the third spot in that 79 machine. Bailey now takes the top side away and the lead from Pete Reed, who's going to try and cross it back over in that 05, but Bailey finally got the top side away. We got one around in the top side at turn number 1 and 2. That's the 30 machine, and we are going to have to go yellow. Tom Pearson in the 30 junior going around top of turn number 1 and 2, and that's going to stall our good battle for the lead there. That was between 49 of Bailey and 05 of Reed before the yellow. Definitely a great showing there between those two drivers. Putting on a show here for you fans at Humberstone. That's what you pay your money for. Bailey is your lead car. He's going to fire first at the cones whenever he wants. Green flag back in the air, and we are racing once again. 3 wide down the front straightaway as Hale got a good jump off the bottom side as the other two were kind of messing around in the middle. As now Hale 3 wide, going to be 4 wide for the lead at a turn number 2. Murray on the very bottom. This is not going to work out into 3. as Murray backs out just a little bit, but he lets the other two slide up as Bailey goes around in 3 and 4, catches the 1J of Fontaine. Tough break for him. Dave Bailey goes around. I knew 4 wide wasn't going to cut it there. They were even 3 wide because one car on the bottom backed out, but Bailey goes around there trying to force the issue. And tough break for the 1J of Fontaine, getting caught up in that one. Hale going to pick up the gas, and we are going to bring the RPMs up. Fontaine catches the back of the field, and we are green flag back in the air in this street stock feature as we've got Hale and Murray side by side. Bomberry now in the Monte Carlo on the bottom. He's snuck his way up there as well. We haven't talked about him that much, but he's in there in the mix looking for that $600 here tonight as Hale makes a mistake and crosses up. Or maybe he was trying to slide to the cushion as now he's up there. Rubs fenders a little bit with the M1 and Murray. Bomberry on the bottom. No one's even seen him all night, but now he's tossing her in there. To the lead goes Blake Bomberry out of turn number 2. Bomberry in that Nitro 54, number 24 car. Now your leader as the 79 of Hale, trying to keep it wound up on the top side as they come to click off lap number 17. Bomberry, your leader that time, with 79 Hale right beside. Blake Bomberry with a great run. Smolders now in that other metric car. Metric car's running pretty good tonight up in here. Smolders, early trouble, but he's now working his way into the top 3 as we got 2 to go this time for the 24 Bomberry. Bomberry, your leader. Hale throws her in. Right rear on the cushion. Right foot down on the gas pedal. White flag. These two drivers are going to settle it. They were almost side by side at the line. It's going to be a close one. Race fans, get your cameras ready. It's going to be a photo finish. Hale misses the top a little bit out of turn number 2. That allows Bomberry to get a couple car lengths on him. Into 3 and 4. Final time. Bomberry on the bottom. Hale on the top. Checkered flag waving. Who's going to be? It's going to be Nitro 54-24. Blake Bomberry, your winner. Hale, Smolders, Thorne, Murray, Larnett, Dinning, Lampman, Bailey back to about 8. And then Beck, and looks like either Teeple or Donnie Lampman's going to round out the top 10 unofficially. Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen, climbing out of the car. Big round of applause. Nitro 54 sponsored. Number 24, your feature winner tonight, Blake Bomberry Jr. Blake, heck of a job, bro. You started off a little bit just biding your time. I didn't talk about you for the first 10 laps, but there the last 10 laps you showed your nose, took the win out away from them veterans. Tell us about your run there.
Oh yeah, I worked really hard to get this car to go on dry slick, and just a little bit at a time getting the setup in it, and it works. I love Humberstone, my second favorite track next to Schwegen.
Yeah, you definitely got to give Oshweekend some love. I love Humberstone, both tracks as well. Definitely lots of family down here in Victory Lane taking pictures of us all. Tell us about them all. Tell us about all your sponsors as well. I know Nitro 54 is one of them, but tell them about all the rest of them that help you get to Victory Lane here tonight. Big win for you.
Oh yeah. CarQuest in Caledonia supplies all my pieces and parts for this car. Yeah, Dan at Nitro 54 has really been a huge help to me and my dad, and we got a few cars going. We hope to have three cars next year. So Kendall Motor Oil, Crescent Oil out of Hamilton. Yeah, that's my main supporters.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together one more time for tonight's feature winner in the GNR Environmental Street Stocks, Blake Bomberry Jr. Awesome race.
This is how they're going to line up for the 30-lap feature event, the Sportsman Dirt Modifieds. Starting in the front row, from Port Robinson, Ontario, the number 74 will be Dave Flanagan Jr. Outside, row number 1 in the 68 will be Curtis Friesen. Second row, on the inside, starting in third, James Friesen in the number 72 from St. Catharines, Ontario. Starting outside, row number 2 in the 4th position. In the 1F will be Ryan Ferry. Starting in 5th, inside, row number 3 from Stony Creek, Ontario in the 53 be Jason Fairway. Starting in 6th row, starting in 6th position, outside, row number 3, Jeff Panante from Ridgeway, Ontario in the 66P. Starting in the 4th row, 7th starting position from Ridgeway, Ontario in the 23M, Nathan Peaty. Starting in 8th, row number 4, outside in the 2K, be Rob Knapp. Starting row number 5, Greg Penante from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 99P. Starting in 10th, outside row number 5 from Ridgeway, Ontario in the 3N would be Noah Mamo. Starting 6th row, inside 11th position from St. Catharines, Ontario in the 17C, be Jordan Costco. Starting 12th in the 96B, also from Port Colborne, Ontario, Luke Carlton. Starting 7th row from Niagara Falls, Ontario in the 22 will be Terry Smith. Outside of Terry, row number 7. Starting 14th from St. Catharines, Ontario, the number 62, John Babian. Row 8, starting 15th in the number 20, Jay Mallory. 8th row, starting 16th in the 13M, Daniel McKay. Starting 17th, inside row number 9, Emily Pachalowski from Port Colborne, Ontario in the 12P. Starting 18th, Taylor Vanderzan in the 74X. Row number 10 from Fort Erie, Ontario, the 20G would be Bill Gill. Outside, row number 10, Greg Rosher from Thorold, Ontario in the 34. And starting last, 11th row, inside, starting 21st, Bill Bleach from Port Robinson, Ontario in the 108.
Thank you, Steve. Flanagan and Friesen on the front row. Both those drivers hungry for a win. Both talented long hot shoes in the 74 and 68 respectively. In behind them, no stranger to victory lane himself. That's the 72 of JMF, James Michael Friesen. Friesen was having a couple good runs last week. Definitely going to be looking for a victory lane in that 72. He's got one at least, I think, this year so far at Merrittville. Good money for normal laps here for our Sportsman as the Brian Cullen Motors pace truck, Humberstone Speedway pace truck's going to pull her into the infield. Flanagan and Friesen going to bring him to green. Both those drivers hungry for a win. Here we go. Hammers are down. Green flag is out, and we racing out of turn number 4 here at Humberstone. Final feature of the night. It's our Sterling Lubricant Sportsman. It's Dave Flanagan Jr. Gets a good run in turn number 1 and 2. He's going to shoot down the back straightaway in the lead in that 74 Outlaw chassis car. 72 Friesen going to switch lanes. Try to get up in that top side that he saw Bomberry and lots of the street stocks use. I know JMF was watching that, and he's going to be trying to put his right rear and the good stuff up on the top, as it was definitely good out of 4, like I say, and that's the money corner. So Flanagan doing good on the top. Here comes Friesen, or Friesen and Friesen, second and third right now. Brothers in second and third, and then Ferry in that 1F, beautiful looking machine. And then Jeff Penante rounding out the top 5 in that 66B, but he's got Rob Knapp all over him in that 2K on the top side. Lots of side-by-side battles in from behind 5th. Penante kind of boxed in that 99P. Jeff Penante rolling good in 5th. Here we go now. JMF up to the top side at the front of the pack, and he is going to lead this lap, like I said, out of 4. Money corner, lots of bite. JMF shows it there to Flanagan. As now JMF runs the slide job line of 1 and 2. That always works well here at Humberstone, as he slid up across the black and grabbed the brown stuff off too. And now back to the top side. There is lots of bite up there now, and JMF has shown it to you as he's put about 5 car lengths between him and the 74 Flanagan since he's taken the lead. We got one off the top at turn number 2. Looks like we're going to have to go yellow. It's the 12, I think, of Emily Pachalski has stopped off the top of turn number 1 and 2, and we go yellow. Here we go, 4 laps in, 26 to go in tonight's Dirt Car Sportsman feature. Friesen gets a good jump in that 72 Bobcat of Hamilton cars. We got one hard over the fence in turn number 1 on the front straightaway. That's Nathan Peaty climbing the wall. Please stay back from the fence, race fans. Tough break there for the 23 of Peaty. I see him moving around, hands flailing, so that's a good sign as track staff attends to the 23N of Peaty. Humberstone Speedway pace truck pulls her to the infield. Friesen and Flanagan, front row, gonna fire between the cones in 3 and 4. I hear the RPMs coming up already. Friesen hammers it at the first cone. Green flag is out, and we are racing once again here at Humberstone Speedway. Friesen holds the bottom. Flanagan tucks in. Curtis Friesen on the high side, going to try to get a run, but it's not going to work. It's going to open up the door for Jeff Panunte in the 66 to his inside. Curtis Friesen does a good job to hold him off. But here comes Luke Carlton, slip in the middle, 3 wide in between Knapp and Jeff Panunte on the bottom. Carlton going to move by Jeff Panunte now for that 6th spot, as Knapp doing a good job up on the high side in the 2K, as he's passed a couple cars after that restart. But Friesen in that 72 car out front, JMF, back to the high side. That's where he's been liking it so far in this feature. And he is starting to click off laps in that 72 car out front. Side by side through Panunte brothers, side by side with the 99P of Greg and the 66P of Jeff down on the bottom. Greg gets the battle out of that one, and he is going to move into about the 7th spot down the back chute now with Carlton and Knapp. Still side by side in 3 and 4 for the 5th spot, trying to work his way around the 68 of Friesen is Knapp. Friesen comes up, blocks the progress of the 2K of Knapp that time. Knapp not giving up, but now Carlton gets a good run on the bottom as Knapp drove her in a little bit too hard that time, and 1 and 2 slipped up. Opened up the door for 96 of Carlton as 72. JMF clicks off another one. That is lap number 8 in the books. 22 to go here tonight in our Sportsman Division feature. JMF starting to pull away now. He knows where that top side is. Lots of bite for that right rear to get into. Running the top side in 3 and 4, bottom in 1 and 2. Excellent driving out of Friesen, but here we go. We got one around in turn number 3 and 4. It's the 62 of John Babian. Collects the 22 of Smith as well. Smith rolls away in that 22. Possible left front flat on that one. Can't quite tell here from the tower. Pace truck to the safety of the infield. We are going green again here in our Sportsman feature here tonight. Friesen gets on the gas again right at the cone. He gets a good jump again as Friesen's going to lead down turn number 1 and 2. Flanagan does the exact same thing, tucks in behind the 72. Ferry trying to pry and opens. Now Ferry gets a little bit of contact, and he's going to go around in turn number 2. Tough break for the 1F of Ryan Ferry as he's around against the guardrail on the bottom of turn 2. Here he had a good lap of practice, so here we go. Ferry going to try to move back through the field as we're green flag out again. Good start again for the 72 at JMF. This time Flanagan Jr. wants to try the high side, but that's going to open up the door for Carlton to the inside as we're 4 wide again down the back straightaway. Another pile up almost. Oh, good job to all the drivers to save it there. It was Fairway. 108 is now Jeff Panunte. Oh, and he gets smoked by the 34 Rauscher, going into 3. And we have to go yellow for the caution in turn number 3 going in. That's Jeff Panunte around. Got tangled up with another car, and then 34 Rauscher just drilled him. $1,200 awaits the winner. Friesen has been running good. He gets another good restart, but this time Flanagan opens the door for Carlton going into turn number 1 and 2, and Carlton's going to try to fill the bottom as now Panunte gets a little loose up on the top side as he tries to get around the 68 of Friesen, but he gathers it back in and gets a run on Curtis Friesen into turn number 3 and 4 on the top side. Panunte in that Gaston's Auto Service ride is going to roll into 4th now under the start-finish line that time. Panunte by Friesen for the 4th spot as Carlton goes by Flanagan for the 2nd spot, and he's going to set his sights now on the 72 of James Michael Friesen, who's still rolling that top side 3 and 4. Bottom side 1 and 2 looks to be the best way around Humberstone right now. JMF looking good in that Bobcat of Hamilton 72 ride. Carlton still rolling the bottom. Still good battle for the 4th spot between Curtis Friesen and Greg Panunte in the 99 ride. Now a little hiccup on the cushion for the 74. Flanagan opens up the door for Panunte, but it didn't work out that time as Panunte is trying to come across the nose of the 68, block his progress into 1, take the preferred line through 1 and 2. Does a good job and controls the 4th spot for now as Panunte is going to go back to the top side in 3 and 4 as JMF, 72-year leader, clicks off another lap. That's lap number 14. It will be halfway down next time by. There they are, cross flags in the air for James Michael Friesen, that 72. Luke Carlton now putting some distance on Dave Flanagan Jr. in the 74 for second. As Panunte now starting to roll up on the back of 74 Flanagan for that 3rd spot. Panunte starting to get rolling in that 99 piece. Car starting to come to him as we click off laps in this feature. Panunte now right on the back bumper of Flanagan. We got the 74 car, Van der Zanden in the front stretch wall, left rear dragging on that one. Let's see if you can get her back to the pits and keep us green as Friesen clicks off another one. Lap 17 goes in the books that time for Friesen. Van der Zanden still rolling in turn 1 and 2. Looks like he does come to a stop, and the yellow flag is going to have to come out for the 74 car off of the top of turn number 1 and 2. So Flanagan might have the better line on the restart to get back by this 96 of Carlton. McCarlton, we know he's not scared to push the top side. Let's see what happens here. RPM's up, green flag back in the air. Another great start for the 72 of JMF. Flanagan, like I said, is trying to fill the inside on the 96 of Carlton, who goes to the top side. Flanagan gets a good bite down the back straightaway. Carlton going to try to block him off, but go to the top side, opens the door for Flanagan. Now here comes the 99P through the middle. That's Greg Panunte trying to split the difference, but he thinks better of it. Sticks the nose to the outside of the 74 Flanagan for that 3rd spot. Greg Panunte and that Gaston Auto Sales 99 trying to get by the 74 of Flanagan for that 3rd spot. Didn't work that time. Knapp now settles into the 5th spot, got by the 68 of Curtis Friesen. Knapp with that white light on the top of his car settles into the 5th spot now in that APC ride. Out front, still JMF pulling away. Every restart you give him, he pulls away on it. Up on the top side where he's been loving to run. Lots of brown stuff up there. He is pulling the momentum away. Carlton in that 96. Top in 1 and 2, top in 3 and 4, the line for the 72 of James Michael Friesen. As now the 1F of Ferry, who got spun around earlier in the night, he's starting to make a charge back through the field. He's looking to the inside of the 68 of Curtis Friesen for the 6th spot. So good rebound for the 1F of Ferry, who looked like to go bad earlier in the night, but now he's definitely getting rebound as the 108 of Bleach there took a swipe at the 20 of Mallory going into turn number 1 and 2. They got a little bumper tag going between those two cars. Eight to go now, just a heat race for the 72 of James Michael Friesen, who's pulled up to almost over a half straightaway lead over the 96 of Carlton, pretty much back to the same running order as we were before that caution, with the leader stretched out just a bit. Well over half straightaway now for the 72 of Friesen, clicks off another lap. 7 to go for the 72 of Friesen. Panunte still trying to mount a charge on that 74 of Dave Flanagan Jr. He's definitely not giving up. Definitely a good race between those two as they're side by side down the front straightaway. Pretty much every lap is now. Panunte gets a good run, but Flanagan gets a better run out the bottom of 2. Drag race down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 for that 3rd spot. High 5 in the air from the starter for James Michael Friesen. That time by 5 to go in this feature event for our Sterling Lubricants Sportsman division here at Humberstone Speedway. Flanagan finally does give up the spot to Panunte, or Panunte finally gets by Flanagan, I should say. But Flanagan definitely not going to want to give up, and he's going to try to get that 3rd spot back from the 99P, but still a good job for the 74 car, as he's been definitely rolling fast here in the Niagara region. 4 now for the 72 of Friesen, who's going to start to encounter a little bit of lap traffic, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem for the 72 as he's been pushing the high side, and they are running on the bottom. Shows his nose to the 34. 3 laps to go this time for the 72 of Friesen. Double sticks in the air, this time by for the 72 of James Michael Friesen. 4 corners to go, and he brings home tonight's $1,200 payday. In our Sterling Lubricant Sportsman division, got another lap car coming up on him. It's the 20 of Gill, but he's been rolling the bottom 2. Might slide up in front of Friesen, but Friesen got about over half straightaway lead as the white flag comes out, this time by 72 of James Michael Friesen. 4 more corners for him. Gonna follow the lap car through 1 and 2. Doesn't really know how big of a lead he's got, but he's the inside of the lap car. Final 2 turns for that 72 car of Friesen. Here he comes out of 4. Put your hands together. Feature winner tonight, James Michael Friesen in that 72 car. Second, going to be Luke Carlton. Great run for him. Third, Panunte. Fourth, Dave Flanagan Jr. Fifth, going to be Knapp over Ferry. Then Curtis Friesen, Fairway. Jordan Costco, Jay Mallory, Bill Gleach Jr., John Babian, and Terry Smith rounds out the running field. Dylan, put your hands together, climbing out of the car. Tonight's Sterling Lubricants feature winner in the Sportsman, it's James Michael Friesen. All right, James, good job. Definitely didn't look back in that when you found the top side in 3 and 4. They watered it before the features definitely came in for you guys to use. Tell us about your feature there.
Just worked around the track, just tried to race the racetrack, you know what I mean? Figure out where my car felt good and just stick with it, and it paid off.
Yeah, you definitely ran good. A little extra money in your pocket today. I see Gordon, the boys over here. They definitely got a little bit of smiles on their face. So tell us about all the help you get the 72 here every week to put the feature wins in the pocket.
I got to thank Gordon McIntosh Jr. and Sr., Advantage Trailer, Trailer Supply Store, Bobcat of Hamilton, 24/7 Water, Team X Bar and Grill, James Little, Ron, Corey, Rob, all the crew, my family. I think that's it.
He nailed it, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together tonight for tonight's Sportsman feature winner. $1,200 in the pocket for James Michael Friesen. All right. I want to say thank you to everyone. I want to say thank you to Steve up in the booth for working with me tonight. It was a fun night working with you.
Thank you very much once again. It's Travis Cunningham, race side, with your victory lane winner. And thank you very much. It was also a pleasure working with you. Looking forward to many more weekends to come. And I'll hand it back down to you, trackside, Travis Cunningham.
All right, we're going to close it here at Terry Vince's new Humberstone Speedway here tonight. It was definitely a great night. Thank you, all the fans. See you back next week for a regular show with the late models back. We know you all love them. Thank you for coming. That's it for tonight at Humberstone Speedway.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of GForceTV. GForceTV would like to thank you for your support and for watching today's broadcast.